Welcome to Live Interactive English. I'm Karen.
Oh, sorry, I'm too quick. I'm Shane, you're Karen.
And I'm Karen.
Sorry.
You just cut me off.
My gut told me I should hurry up and introduce myself. So we're on part 2 of gut feelings. Should you trust them?
Obviously, sometimes no.
I feel like my gut is pretty accurate. I definitely...
You know, speaking of which, I just remembered something. You know, you were telling me how your gut feelings is always so accurate. You should always listen to your gut feelings.
Right.
But do you remember what you said to me about your wife when you first met her?
Wait, well, I remember my gut told me, I remember I had really good feelings about my wife. I think it was like love at first sight. Yeah, wait, but how
I
do you...
was there.
Wait, you were...
Remember we had that talk and I was talking to you and I was asking you, hey,
That's right.
how is she? And then you were talking to me about her. And then that's not what you said.
Wait, what?
before.
Really? What? I don't remember. What did I say about her?
Well, you said that she was kind of weird and not that easy to get along with, and then not your type. Do you not remember?
Wait, I said that?
Yes.
Well, actually, wait.
So I guess your gut feelings is not so accurate after all.
Fact, though, she is pretty weird. That's true. And, well, no, she is not that easy to get along with. So my gut, I think, actually was pretty accurate, but I do really, really love her. Actually, I kind of end up really liking her weirdness, and if she's too easy to get along with, that would be kind of boring, right?
Okay.
You need a little bit of tension in the relationship to make it interesting. So my gut was right. I just maybe didn't read my gut correctly that time.
Maybe. So you ended up marrying her, but you are happily married, so that's
Yes. So maybe, so I should, wait, I don't know. Okay, anyway.
But we're going to learn more about gut feelings today.
Gut feelings happen because of the unconscious mind. At any given moment, there are things in our minds that we know or see, even though we aren't consciously thinking about them. Say you get a sudden desire to cross the street, and once you move, a car speeds onto the sidewalk behind you. You might have actually heard the approaching car, but just didn't notice. If a gut feeling tells you to do something right away, it's usually good to follow it.
So today we're looking at part 2 of gut feelings. Should you trust them? Should we trust our gut feelings?
This is really, really, really interesting, like this topic, right? I really feel like this is one of the most interesting topics that I think we've ever talked about. I have a lot of different feelings my gut's telling me.
That's true.
All the time.
And then for me, it's like I feel sometimes it's accurate and sometimes it's not. So should I listen to my gut feelings? I really don't know.
Well, why don't we read on and find out some more information about these gut feelings?
Okay, sounds like a good idea.
Gut feelings happen because of the unconscious mind.
Unconscious mind? What does that mean? Unconscious.
Right. So to understand, so this is an adjective, right?
That's right.
So if you are conscious, we first have to understand what that means. If
That's
you're
right.
conscious, that means that you are aware of your surroundings. You're aware of it and can interact with your surroundings.
Okay.
So the feeling is kind of a bit like being awake versus being asleep, right? So when you're unconscious, you're just not really aware of and you can't interact with your environment.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So for example, Sigmund Freud claimed that people's actions are greatly influenced by the unconscious mind.
So without them even knowing what's on their mind.
They're not really aware of what's going on.
Okay.
Right? But that's where your gut comes in here, right? It's not being aware, but you are actually aware.
Okay.
Just not consciously aware.
It sounds kind of deep, but let's learn more.
Let's go deeper.
Okay. At any given moment, there are things in our minds that we know or see, even though we aren't consciously thinking about them. Oh, I've heard of that before. Okay. So there are things that you are actively thinking about, right? But on your unconscious mind, you're not really thinking about them, right?
Well, for example, right now I could be cold and my body could be reacting to cold by giving me goosebumps or something. But in my mind, I might be busy doing something else and I haven't really thought about I am cold.
Okay.
But my body and my brain is already preparing me for the cold. Does that make sense?
Okay, I do get it. Okay.
Let's go on. Say you get a sudden desire to cross the street.
Okay.
And once you move, a car speeds onto the sidewalk behind you.
Okay.
Whoa, so you kind of walk off the sidewalk and then you just get a feeling to walk. And then right behind you, a car goes onto the sidewalk. So if you didn't move, you would have been hit by that car.
Oh, okay. And sudden is our next vocabulary word, and that is an adjective. So when you describe something as sudden, that means it happens very quickly, usually unexpectedly. Okay, so you're not expecting it to happen, but it just happens all of a sudden very quickly. So, for example, Nelson's sudden death shocked us all. So nobody was expecting Nelson to die.
Right, he wasn't sick or something like that. It was unexpected.
So it just happens very, very quickly.
Okay, let's read on. You might have actually heard the approaching car, but just didn't notice.
Okay.
So really, your ears are really communicating information to your brain all the time.
That's right.
But there's so much information that you can't be conscious of all of that information all the time, or you will go crazy, right? If a gut feeling tells you to do something right away, it's usually good to follow it.
Especially in this circumstance, right? In this situation, if you don't follow it, you might get hit by a car.
Yeah.
Right? So have you ever heard stories? I've heard a lot of stories before about passengers taking the airplane and then all of a sudden, you know, at the last minute, they get this gut feeling and then they say, oh, I want to cancel my flight.
Yeah.
And then they find out the news that the plane that they were supposed to be on crashed. Right?
I never believe these stories.
Really, you don't?
No, I feel like most people are nervous before they fly. So if you didn't fly for some reason, there's probably another reason you didn't fly. Then later the plane crashes and people will say to you, well, did you have a feeling that something was happening? Yeah.
And then you kind of
Actually,
link.
I had a bad feeling, but I don't believe it.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know, but it's happened before quite a few times, quite a few stories I've read. But we don't really know. But we'll have to learn more after the break.
Okay.
Hello， 大家好，我是 Hanny。同学们认为直觉是可以相信的吗？课文写到，直觉会发生是因为潜意识心理的缘故。在任何时候呢，我们脑海中都有一些事情是我们知道或者是有看到，只是可能不会有意识的去想它。比如说，你突然想过马路，你一移动呢，就有一辆车高速的开到你后面的人行道。其实你可能早就听到那辆车子靠近的声音，只是没有认真去注意这件事。那这时候直觉要你马上做某件事，你去听从直觉，通常会是好事。好，来看单字 unconscious。它是形容潜意识的、无意识的。那这是由否定字首 un 再加上形容词 conscious 是有意识的，所以合在一起就是无意识的咯。再来看到 sudden， 它是形容词，形容突然的、意外的。那我们常用一个片语叫 all of a sudden。All of a sudden 就是突然间。那这边两个重点，我们进入文法时间。好，我们来看第一个重点是 once 当连接词，它表示一怎么样就怎么样，一旦怎么样就怎么样，用来引导时间副词子句。那引导的子句呢，可以摆在主要子句之前或者是之后，这时候它跟 as soon as 意思相近。例如 once you get to know her, you'll like her。一旦你开始慢慢了解她，你就会喜欢这个人的。下一个重点是 might 或者是 may 再加 have 加上过去分词 pp， 这时候是表达也许怎么样，可能怎么样，用来表达对过去的推测。那么 might 的可能性会比 may 来得低。例如 Ian was supposed to be here 20 minutes ago. He might have been delayed by traffic. Ian 原本应该20分钟前就要到这里，他可能因为交通而耽搁了吧。好，那我们接着回到课文中。
When you have time to process your feelings, trust your gut on subjects that you know a lot about. On these matters, you're less likely to be wrong. For example, an experienced doctor will probably have accurate gut feelings, but an inexperienced doctor likely won't. However, opinions sometimes get confused with knowledge, which can lead to misleading gut feelings. To help avoid this mistake, take time to think. If your feeling is based on good judgment, then you can follow it. Still, for quick decisions, it's often best to go with your gut. It could be wrong, but it could also save your life.
Welcome back, everybody.
So we're still talking about gut feelings, right?
Uh-huh.
So we'll be learning more about gut feelings right now.
Okay.
When you have time to process your feelings, trust your gut on subjects that you know a lot about. On these matters, you're less likely to be wrong. Okay, so I guess that kind of makes sense because
Sure.
I guess you don't have to trust your gut feelings all the time, but on areas or subjects where you have a lot of knowledge about, so I guess you're more likely to be right?
Yeah, because you have quite a bit of knowledge about that thing. So the information that you're getting, your brain knows how to process it because it knows quite a lot about it. And so if it gives you a feeling, you should trust it. Okay, that makes sense. For example, an experienced doctor will probably have accurate gut feelings, but an inexperienced doctor likely won't.
That's true, because maybe experienced doctors, they already seen a lot of things happening
Right.
and to patients, so they know if this patient is experiencing something, so they might have a gut feeling, okay, now I should do this, or I should, do this procedure on this patient, right?
Or like an experienced doctor actually had gut feelings when he was inexperienced and then realized, oh, that feeling was wrong, and learned from their mistakes. So
That's
they
right.
learn when to trust their gut and when not to. Right?
Okay, well, that makes a lot of sense. And that brings us to our next vocabulary word, and that is accurate. Accurate is an adjective. So when we talked about you think that your gut feeling is very accurate, when you describe something as accurate, that means it's correct, it's right, free of mistakes or errors, right? Right on the spot. Okay, so for example, it's too bad that we don't have an accurate map of the area.
Yeah, because you'll get lost.
That's right. It's probably not updated, right?
Right.
Okay.
However, opinions sometimes get confused with knowledge, which can lead to misleading gut feelings.
Misleading gut feelings, huh?
Yeah. All right, so opinions can be mistaken for knowledge, right? You get confused between these. So an opinion is an idea or thought that you have about something, but it's not based on a lot of information or knowledge. It's kind of more just like how you feel about something.
That's right. So a lot of times you would hear people say, oh, in my opinion, I think this song is really, really good. But another person could say, in my opinion, I think this song is not good at all.
Right. So an opinion is very subjective.
That's right.
For example, Amanda is not afraid of sharing her opinion in class. So she might not know a lot about something, but she's not afraid to just tell you what she thinks.
That's right. And it's not just about right and wrong. It's not black and white. It's just your opinion, right? And we should respect everyone's opinion.
Sometimes.
Sometimes. Okay, so to help avoid this mistake, take time to think. If your feeling is based on good judgment, then you can follow it. Okay, so we're talking about if it's based on good judgment, right? So judgment would be our next vocabulary word, and that is a noun. So judgment is kind of like your opinion or decision on something, but based on careful thought. Like you really think it through.
Well, like a judge, right? A judge listens to all the information, then they go, and then they think about it, and then they make a judgment, right?
You are right. So you have to really think it through. So for example, It's difficult to make a judgment on this matter without more data. So without more data, it's hard to make a right decision on this topic, right?
Yes.
You cannot just say, oh, this is my opinion, because a judgment is a little more carefully thought through, right?
Right. Still, for quick decisions, it's often best to go with your gut. It could be wrong, but it could also save your life. But it could also kill you, right? Like if you step into the street because your gut tells you to, one time you might avoid the car that went on the sidewalk, but the other time you might walk into the street and get hit by a bus.
You are right. So,
I don't know.
But I do agree with the fact that, if you know something, like for example, the doctor example, if you know a lot about something, you have a lot of knowledge in that area, it's important to kind of follow your gut feelings because most of the time you could be right.
And in life, sometimes you need to be decisive. You need to make decisions. If you're always just thinking, oh, I don't know. At some point, you have to decide.
Exactly.
So you may as well, if you can't decide in your mind with the information, then you just listen to your gut. Right?
And we do have a what do you think question.
Okay.
Have you ever had a gut feeling about something? Did it turn out to be accurate? If you've never had one, can you give an example that illustrates a gut feeling?
Well, last time I talked about my gut feeling when I met my wife.
That's right.
I remember that my gut feeling was good. I had a good gut feeling about her. But you informed me that, in fact, I had a bad gut feeling.
Exactly.
And it turned out to be wrong. Right? Well, how about you? Have you ever had a gut feeling that turned out to be accurate or inaccurate?
Actually, when I first met my husband, the first time I met him, I didn't have a good gut feeling about him. And actually, the interesting part was that all of my friends, nobody had a good gut feeling about him. But it turns out that he actually is a really nice guy.
Well, you ended up marrying him and you've stayed married to him, so I assume that he's a great guy. So did he just change with time? Was your gut feeling like based on some information that if he never changed?
Well, I think at that time, the first time when I met him, he was probably at a stage in his life where, he was not really settled down, he was still, kind of want to party all the time.
And play.
Exactly. But I think he grew, through time. He also changed through time.
I think that's a lot of people, especially guys. My wife probably had a bad gut feeling about me too.
That's right.
Over time I changed too.
Exactly.
So people can change and situations can change. So
make your own judgment.
Okay, well, thank you for learning about gut feelings with us, and we will see you next time.
See you next time.
Bye-bye.
可以相信直觉吗？那我们来看看那个情况，就是如果这是你自己熟悉的主题，也许就可以相信直觉，这时候比较不可能出错。就像是有经验的医生，或许他们会有准确的直觉，但没经验的医生可能就不会有。单字 accurate。它是形容准确的、精确的或是确切的，它的相反词是在前面加上 in inaccurate， 就是不准确的、不精确的。例句写到说，我们没有那个区域准确的地图。Karen 老师说可能是地图没有更新。那我们学一下 update。update update 就是更新，它是个动词。那课文接着写到，有时候这个意见会跟知识搞混，这可能就会导致误导性的直觉，所以你就要花时间去思考说，如果这个感觉是根据良好判断，那就可以听从直觉。可是如果这是紧急状况，或者是需要快速果断做决定的情况，你也没有什么时间好好思考，那照直觉行事往往会是最好的。Shane 老师呢，刚刚用到 decisive。decisive， 它是形容词，形容果断的或是决定性的。那么课文单词 opinion， 它表示意见、看法或是主张。那我们知道意见是主观的，这时候你可以用 subjective。subjective 这个形容词就可以形容是主观的。再来看到 judgment 这个名词，它是指判断、评价或者是判断力。这边两个重点，我们要进入文法时间。好，我们来看第一个重点是 likely 的用法。 那第一种你可以把它当形容词用，来表达很可能的。那常用的句型是主词 be likely to 加上原形动词。likely 的前面你还可以加上 most、more、less 或是 least 来表达可能的程度，像是 People who exercise regularly are less likely to catch a cold。规律运动的人比较不容易感冒。好，那第二个你可以把它当副词来用，去表达很可能怎么样。例如 Zoe will likely be late for the party。Zoe 很可能会在派对上迟到。那第二个要介绍的是 go with 加名词的不同意思。第一个呢是指接受、听从或者是选择使用。我们课文里面说的 go with one's gut 是指说依照自己的直觉来行事。好，那我们来看看，如果是选择的那种意思，假设你面前有几样点心给你选，你就可以用 I'll go with 点点点来表达自己的选择哦。例如 I'll go with vanilla ice cream， 我要选香草冰淇淋。好，那第二个呢，我们可以用 go with 加名词去表达适合，跟什么很搭。这时候你还可以搭配这个 well 或者是 nicely 等等的副词来做修饰。例如 This tie goes well with your suit。这条领带跟你的西装很搭。好，那以上是今天的讲解，同学别走开，马上回来哦。
Gut feelings happen because of the unconscious mind. At any given moment, there are things in our minds that we know or see, even though we aren't consciously thinking about them. Say you get a sudden desire to cross the street, and once you move, a car speeds onto the sidewalk behind you. You might have actually heard the approaching car, but just didn't notice. If a gut feeling tells you to do something right away, it's usually good to follow it. When you have time to process your feelings, trust your gut on subjects that you know a lot about. On these matters, you're less likely to be wrong. For example, an experienced doctor will probably have accurate gut feelings, but an inexperienced doctor likely won't. However, opinions sometimes get confused with knowledge, which can lead to misleading gut feelings. To help avoid this mistake, take time to think. If your feeling is based on good judgment, then you can follow it. Still, for quick decisions, it's often best to go with your gut. It could be wrong, but it could also save your life.
Hello, I'm Matt.
And I'm Vivian.
Today we're playing Guess the Bear. We each have cards with vocabulary words or phrases and example sentences where those words or phrases are replaced with the word bear. We'll each have 1 minute to see if we can guess all 3 words or phrases. Do you want to guess first?
Sure.
Are you ready? Okay, we got 1 minute. Let's go. First one is an adjective. He was hit by a car and left bare. I was knocked bare by the fall.
Down.
He was hit by a car and left bare. I was knocked bare by the fall.
I was knocked bare by the fall. Out?
Almost same. What's the difference?
Unconscious?
Yes. Next one's an adjective. His bare death was a shock to everyone. To my surprise, there was a bare knock at the door.
Say it again.
His bare death was a shock to everyone. To my
Sudden.
Yes. Next one's a noun. In my bear, you were right. She has pretty strong bears on the matter.
Opinion.
Yes. Okay, got it.
Okay, you ready?
Got through them all. Yeah, I think I'm ready.
Okay, let's go with the clock.
All right.
Okay, so this one's a noun with 1 word. He delivered his bear before the court. Personally, I didn't agree with her bear.
A case?
No.
Oh, didn't agree
Close
with her.
in that general
yeah,
topic.
Delivered his...
Bear before the
I
court.
know, I can't think of the word. Let's try the next one. Come back
Okay,
to that.
so next one is an adjective. It's 1 word. I don't think your calculations are bare. Predicting the weather isn't always bare.
Exact?
Close.
Precise?
Very close, very close. Very close in the same thing.
Predicting the weather isn't...
I don't think your calculations are
correct, exact, okay, try the next one
Okay,
again.
okay.
I don't know.
Next one is a phrase, 2 words. Those shoes really bare your dress. The wallpaper doesn't bare the carpet at all.
Go with?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so the first one's a noun, 1 word. He delivered his bear before the court. Judgment. So that one is judgment.
Judgment.
He delivered his
Oh, okay.
judgment before the court, and personally, I didn't agree with her judgment. And then
okay.
the second one is accurate. You were so close.
Accurate.
I don't think your
Oh.
calculations are accurate.
Yeah, okay.
Predicting the weather isn't always accurate. You were in the same ballpark for both of them.
Yeah, well, that one, that's accurate. Okay.
Close enough.
See you next time.